Today we're going to talk about hypnotherapy. My name is Michael Brownstein, otherwise known as Michael B. You can always find me in the yellow pages under hypnotherapy. And I'm happy and grateful and excited to be here. I think it's fantastic. It's a wonderful facility that Paulette has built here, the Universal College of Healing Arts. I saw it when they first had it over on 50th Street, and it's really a wonderful facility and the things they're doing here. I'm just grateful to be here. I will go anywhere, anytime, and talk about the power of mind. That's what I do. Now, officially, this is about hypnotherapy, but it's really about cause and effect. The reason that I chose to work with hypnotherapy or work in the field of hypnotherapy was because it is exemplary of the core belief that I have. You can throw away everything that I believe. You can test me on anything, you can challenge me on anything and say, well, do you really believe that? And I'll say, no. No. Well, as a matter of fact, I'll let go of that one too. Oh yeah, and I'll let go of that belief too. Do you believe in herbs? Oh, I'll let go of that one. I let go of every belief except for one. Thought creates. Period. Period. You can stop right there. When we're in the healing profession, we want to get to the cause in order to make substantive change. Now, you're wondering what I'm doing talking to you here at a massage therapy school, because you're talking about working on bodies and things like that. But we're going to see how there's a link between consciousness and what you're doing as well. So, the law that we are honoring is the law of cause and effect. That's what we're talking about, because we want to make change. As healers, we want to make change. We want to facilitate change. We don't make change, but we facilitate change. If we want to make change, if we want to make substantive change, we have to make the change at the cause. First of all, I forgot to do what I really wanted to do. Now that we're all excited about talking about cause and effect, we're going to backpedal a little bit. And I want everybody to take just a minute, or maybe even less. And that includes you people watching at home or watching this tape somewhere else. First of all, I want everybody to sit really comfortably as you can. Unwind all of those flow paths through your body. Unwind your body a little bit physically. That's a conscious thought. Start with that. Now, go ahead and close your eyes for a second. Just close your eyes, leave your eyes closed. And take a nice, easy, deep breath. Breathe in. Exhale. And let your shoulders sag down a little bit. Let yourself relax into the chair a little bit, onto the floor. And take another deep breath. Exhale. Good. And let your mind relax. Take another deep breath. Breathe in all the way down to the base of your torso. Exhale. And let it all go. Good. Thanks. I needed that. When we do something like that, we're starting to clear our mind. The minute you close your eyelids, you're cutting out a huge amount of intellectual sensory input. And you're allowing yourself to experience a little bit of mental stillness, quieting down this barking dog that runs around that's called the intellect or the conscious part of the mind. If everything in this entire world started as a thought, we start to develop and see that the flow of cause and effect is from thought to form. Now, I'm not going to tell you anything that you haven't already heard. I'm not going to tell you anything that you don't already know. We're going to talk today about stuff that you already know, and simply remember stuff that you already know. You already know this. You already know that thought is cause. This is just another way of putting this. And form is effect. Everything is either a thought or form. There's only two worlds. The world of thought, the world of form. Now I see a lot of you taking notes, and I'll tell you the first thing that I said to my classes at UCLA. I taught at UCLA for 10 years, and the first thing I said is, stop taking notes. You don't need it. Make a note here or there. You're not going to be tested. Nobody's going to look at your notebook. But that's just me. That's what I think. I think what you need is to use your mind and let your mind soak this stuff up. And make a note here or there, but don't get distracted by the paper and the pen. Communication happens mind to mind, not even word to word. If I'm not fully aware of what I'm thinking or talking about, I can't even communicate it to you. So we're staying true to this idea that thought creates. Let's examine the law of cause and effect. And let's examine why we have to make change on the level of thought if we want to make change in the level of form. Think of the Roto-Rooter guy. You get your sink plugged up at your house. You go out in the kitchen and you turn it on and say, oh man, the water's not going down. And you try all the liquid Drano and everything that you possibly can, and the water still doesn't go down. There's only one thing to do. There's only one call to make. Roto-Rooter. The Roto-Rooter guy comes, and he runs this little thing down your drain, and he pulls out all this junk, and he leaves. You give him a check for $75, and the drain works fine. Amazing. Then 3 or 4 months later, God, it's slowing up again. Roto-Rooter guy comes back, and he runs it through again. I don't understand it. And finally, the Roto-Rooter guy, after about 3 or 4 times, says, you know, if you keep putting dental floss and grease and fat and coffee grounds down this drain, I'm going to be coming back all the time. If we don't do something to make a change in the cause, then we're not going to make a change in the effect. And so when we examine the world of form, and if we want to make a change in the world of form, we have to make a change in the world of thought. It's a simple cause and effect relationship. If you look around here, there's nothing that didn't exist as a thought before it existed in the world of form. Now, if we've ever crossed paths before in a situation like this, you may have experienced this little experiment that I like to run. Now, for this experiment, I've had to stop at the grocery store and pick up something, but I'm not going to proceed until I get set up here. You're going to have to help me with this little experiment. And put this down so I don't make a mess. And my handy Swiss Army knife that I got for $1.50 at a garage sale. And there's an important role that you have to play in this experiment. And that is, I want everybody here to close their eyes and leave your eyelids closed until I ask you to open them. And in fact, people who might be watching this videotape, do the same thing. I'll tell you when to open your eyes. But to really experience this is going to be a little bit of a practical class. Everybody close your eyelids, leave your eyelids closed. Keep them closed till I ask you to open. Now, reaching into my bag, and I'm pulling out what I stopped at Albertsons for. And it's a beautiful, bright, yellow, late summer lemon. Gorgeous, beautiful, bright yellow. It's a real kissed lemon. Okay, now putting it on this plate so I don't make a mess, I'm going to take my Swiss Army knife, and whoops, it's dripping just a little bit. I'll clean that up, Paulette. And now I'm going to do something that I ordinarily don't like to do. I'm going to bite in to the whole half of this cut lemon. Whoa. Oh, that is good. Oh, those little things. It's not as bad as I thought. Oh, now, if you experienced any kind of sensation at all in your mouth or your tongue or right underneath your ears like I do, raise your hand, leave your hand up. Go ahead. Don't be afraid to raise your hand. Raise your hand, leave your hand up. Any kind of sensation at all. Now, open your eyes. Where's the lemon? That's not a funny question. That's a serious question. Where is the lemon? In your mind. In your mind. What did you feel?
Actually, I felt it's kind of a sharp feeling in my jaw.
Yeah, I get it right back here. Anybody else get it right back here? And I know there isn't a lemon. But I've convinced my subconscious mind that there is a lemon using an image. All that exists of that lemon, it's not here. Oh, you can open your eyes at home now. The lemon isn't here except in your mind. Did you experience a physical change in your body? Yes. Did it tingle? Yes. Some people say, oh yeah, I smelled the lemon before you even cut it. All that existed was a thought. A thought in your mind caused a change in your body. It's not a big deal. Every filmmaker knows that that can happen. A subconscious thought can change your body. How many people have paid their $7.50, gone into a movie, sat down, and 5 minutes into the chase scene where the heroine is getting chased through the house, the scary dark house, by the big monster carrying the knife, and he runs down the steps, and you hear the music going doo 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 doo, and the lighting and everything, and you feel your heart rate increase, feel your blood pressure go up, you feel your palms get sweaty and cold. Anybody ever experienced that? No, never. Of course you have. You had a physiological change in your body. Now, intellectually speaking, if the camera pulled back, you'd see there's a guy holding a microphone, there's a guy with a rubber mask, and that's really what the monster is. There's somebody over in the corner eating a bagel. The director's sitting there watching on a view screen to see if they got it. That's what's really going on. And intellectually you know that, but your subconscious mind buys into the image, and your body changes. Your body literally changes. Now, you can say to me, well, Michael B., that's really cute. You did a clever little thing. I'm going to play that on my nephew when I get to the party later tonight. That's great. And yeah, okay, I'll give you that. It's a cute little thing. And you can say, well, yeah, of course, in a movie I've experienced that. I know that's a movie. Yeah, I'll give you that. What about world-class athletes who visualize before games? They do it all the time to improve their ability to perform. What about cancer patients? And several years ago, there was a study at the Simonton Clinic in Texas. Cancer patients who visualized, they used an old video game called Pac-Man, and they had cancer patients visualize Pac-Man eating the cancer cells. They showed statistically that those cancer patients did better than the ones who didn't visualize. So now you say, oh, well, okay, I'll give you that, I'll give you that. I'm asking you, where do you want to draw the line? You can't draw the line. Extend the line as far as you want. Thought creates. Every single thought you have has impact on your life. Every single thought. So we're not here to teach you or tell you how to be hypnotherapists. We're here to talk a little bit about hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy works with thought. Doesn't work with herbs, drugs, massage, or any of that stuff. It gets right to the cause. But I want you guys to realize that you can apply this to what you're doing. Your consciousness has impact on what you do and how you relate to your clients. So that's really what's practical about this class and talking about this. Now, hypnotherapy relies upon something that we've already touched upon and that you already know, we all know. You don't have to be a psychologist to know this. You can read USA Today. We've got two parts of our mind. It all happens in the mind. And the two parts that are easy for me to understand are the subconscious part and the conscious part. Now, I know that, psychology, when I was taking psychology classes, which totally, utterly bored me, it would say there's an ego, a superego, and an id, and all sorts of stuff. And I remember sitting in psychology class and going, oh, I just had a thought. Now, what part of my mind thought that? Was that from the id? Was that from the ego? I couldn't for the life of me figure it out. It just didn't make any sense. So I am so happy to have it simplified to the conscious part of the mind and the subconscious part of the mind. I am here to exhort you, to encourage you, and to tell you and promise to you that you can rely entirely on this part of your mind. You hardly have to think conscious thoughts at all. I think most of your conscious thoughts are done when you're like 7 years old. I think once you get all the tools in your toolbox, you can go from here and use this part of your mind as an interface rather than as something to guide you. Believe it or not. Okay, this is where you can start to apply things in your own practice utilizing the power of your subconscious. Let me explain. Everybody knows how powerful their subconscious mind is, even now, just into the 15 or 20 minutes that we've been speaking. And I'll give you an example. You're using your subconscious mind all the time. How many people drove a car here today? Okay. This is how you looked when you were learning to drive, using your intellectual mind. Am I in between the white lines? I don't know. Oh, whoops, a little bit over to the left. Okay, fine. Whoa, red light. Whoa, too much brake. Not enough brake. Whoa, no. Okay, that's enough. Am I at the stop line? Yeah, I think. Oh, a little bit further. Sorry. Okay. Green. Whoa, too much gas. No, not enough. Okay, yes. Oh, left turn. Is there anybody in the lane? No. Intellectually driving, you sucked. It was terrible. You were dangerous. But as you trained your subconscious, today when you drove here, you drove a 3,000-pound chunk of steel, glass, and plastic at 45 miles an hour while you talked on the cell phone, ate a cheeseburger, and did your nails. I've seen people do that on the Ventura Freeway. Okay, scared the living daylights out of me. But subconsciously, you can drive better than you can consciously. Almost 99%, I don't know, I've never seen real statistics on it. 99% of what you do during your life is subconscious. Intellectually, I couldn't walk from here to there. I'd have to go, extensor, yes, okay. Change, shift, inner ear, balance, heart, increase heart rate, yes, blood pressure's going up. Oh, blood vessel walls, tighten, yes, balance now. Left foot, right foot. Oh, breathe faster, we need more air now. Oh, send that oxygen down to the glutes, tense up, step. You can't think your way into walking, but your subconscious can do that stuff so much better. I'm exhorting you, rely on it, move into it, start to work with it. This is the first thing that we have to do. I'm going to explain to you exactly my take on how this whole accident happened, that we started giving so much liege, so much attention or belief or structure to the intellect, to where we kowtowed to data and information. Think of what the intellect can do, the intellectual mind. It can alphabetize things. It can add numbers. It can sort of analyze, it looks at an equation. It goes, okay, blah, 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 blah. And that's about it. My laptop does it faster and better with fewer mistakes. The intellectual mind is a wonderful little tool, but we start to rely upon it rather than using it as a tool. Here's how it all started, I think. I just made this up, so it could be a fantasy. But when we're born, we have a mind, correct? Most of us. I'm polling you. When we're born, we have a mind. But can it analyze? No. Does it have any numerical skills? No. Does it have any logic? Thank God not. Does it have any verbal skills? No. We have a mind when we're born. This is our core mind. Do we know things? Yeah. We know very simple things like, we go like that, somebody brings us milk. Hey, that worked. So, they bring us milk again. So we begin to relate to our outer world, and we start to build a mind. We start to build an intellectual mind. The process sort of goes like this. Wah! And then some guy comes and gives us a rattle. We go, oh, that didn't work. I wanted that other stuff. And so we notice, oh, that guy called her Mama. That's the one I want. Mama! I like that. Mama comes. At least I got the right person. But she brought a rattle too. So then I go, okay. Mama, milk. Whoa! And we slowly build a mind that does what? That mind takes our desires, our needs, our feelings, and translates it so that we can interact with the world of form. This gets right back to what we started when we first started here. We sat down and we shut up, we closed our eyes, stopped taking input in, closed our eyes, and we breathed. We took deep breaths. That was a good one. And that's called what? What's breathing called? Technically. What's Yes, respiration. Respiration. Good one. Respiration, 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 respiration. What's this word? Comes from the Latin spiritus. Spirit. Respiration is literally giving us a chance to breathe something in. Now, you don't have to use the word spirit. You can use the word intuition, inner guide, higher mind, whatever you want to use it. But this is what we're doing when we start stopping just for a moment. It's a practice. It begins to say, you know what? I don't have to listen to what USA Today tells me. I don't have to listen to what NPR tells me or the latest poll, because they tell you one thing on Monday and on Tuesday it's something different. They tell you that if you don't drive a Lexus, you're never going to get laid again. Forget about it. You know, if you don't have $1 million, you're not going to be happy. If you don't have this degree or that degree, then you're not going to be successful. And if you don't have Blue Cross Blue Shield, how are you ever going to be healthy? And they get you to believe this. It doesn't matter what it is, and I don't have a particular bone to pick with Lexus or Blue Cross Blue Shield, but you get the point. This data coming in, you have to say, whoa. And that's the first step in getting this part of the mind to shut up. This is the first step to activating and using this part of the mind. Now let's talk about these two parts of the mind. Everybody has them, everybody can use them. I'll give you an example of how somebody I know used the subconscious mind without even knowing it. Her name was Sally. Names have been changed to protect the guilty. So Sally and I were hanging out on a Halloween time of life, and so you know those little Snickers bars? Well, we had some left over on Halloween. So I said, oh, listen, Sally, take these, put these in your purse. So I gave her a couple Snickers bars, and I forgot about them. And a couple days later, we're driving down to go pick up Sally's young son at school, and it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Pacific in the late afternoon, you know, kind of late October or whatever. What happens at 4 o'clock for me, driving in traffic, is like this insane need for sugar. And I go, ooh, Snickers bars. Sally, can I have one of those Snickers bars in your purse? She says, oh, I don't have them. Oh, bummer. Why? Well, the weirdest thing happened. Yesterday, I was over at the Hy-Vee on Center Street, and I came out, and there were these two little girls, like 8 or 9 years old, and they were sitting at the bus bench. And one of them was crying, the other one was really upset, and I went over, and she was bleeding. A bus had kicked up a rock and hit her right in the forehead, and it's a pretty vascular part, so it was bleeding pretty well and pretty good, and coming down, and she was just freaked, and the little kid was, and so Sally, I didn't mention, is a nurse. She's an RN. She went through years of schooling, studied all the right books and stuff, and that's something to have made it through that. She's a licensed, registered nurse. So, of course, she drew upon these long, extensive years of schooling, and she reached in her purse and she grabbed a Kleenex and folded it up real tight, and she applied direct pressure to the wound, of course. And the little kid is just going, it's not stopping. Now the other kid is crying because she's all upset, and blood is running down the kid's face, and the blood just keeps running and pouring down, and she's all upset. And so my friend Sally reaches into her purse for another Kleenex, And she sees the Snickers bar. She says, "Oh, here, honey, have a Snickers bar." And the other one says, "Can I have one?" So she gives the other one to the other one. All of a sudden, the girl who's got the cut forehead is going, And she stops crying so loudly, and she slows down, and what happens? Well, her blood pressure goes down a little bit, and the next Kleenex does its job, and it stops the bleeding. And I'm hearing this story, and I'm going, "God, that's the coolest thing in the world. That is so cool." And Sally's looking at me like, "What is so cool about that?" And I said, "When you reached into your purse and grabbed the Snickers bar, did you think about, oh, I've got a Snickers bar here, I'll give this to her, this will slow her down and calm her down so that I can work on her forehead?" No, I just saw it. It was just there. And so I'm sorry, I gave them away. So that's not the point. What a perfect application of inspiration. How perfect. You didn't think at all. Where exactly in all of her nursing training did it say, well, when you come upon a juvenile of 8 years old or so with a laceration of the forehead bleeding profusely, the first thing to do is you must get yourself a Snickers bar out of the purse and give it to them because that'll bring the... There ain't no science in the world that'll tell you that, but inspiration will. Do you catch my point? Cultivate it. Use it. And then it just comes. And it can become the best tool for you to work on any of your clients ever. So, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am a certified hypnotherapist, and now is when you really shouldn't be taking notes because I'm making all this up. And I studied at the Hypnotism Training Institute in Los Angeles under a gentleman named Gil Boyne. It was established like in 1976 or something. So I checked out hypnotherapy schools because you can honestly go study hypnotherapy with Joe Blow for a weekend course and probably learn to hypnotize somebody. But I don't believe you can really get a good background in how to therapeutically apply that. I did that after a long career of doing other stuff. And, well, I'll tell you, I produced records in Los Angeles for 20 years and sat in the recording studio with everybody, the likes of the Eagles and Grand Funk and Frank Zappa and Paul Anka and Barry Manilow and Leonard Skinner and Crosby, Stills and Nash and blah, 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 blah. Everybody, because it was the 70s and I knew everybody and I did that and that's what I did. Now, you might be saying, how the hell do you go from making records to doing hypnotherapy? I will tell you, and you will once again see the generality of what I'm talking about. Because anything that you learn, if you can't apply it to everything that you do, is so limited and specific to one particular thing that what's its point? A lesson has to be applicable to everything. I'll tell you, when you're making records, well, here's an example. God, teach by example. Okay, so what happened, here's an example. I'm sitting in the recording studio with Crosby, Stills and Nash, and they're recording a song, and it's just a song before I go. And I say, hey, Steven, wait, that was a great take. Go back, let's put a harmony guitar part on that. Just go back and what? I said, everybody just stay where you are. Let's put a third above that on the first part of that guitar solo. Okay, so we roll the tape back, hit record, and he puts a harmony part and finishes it. Wow, Michael B., that was a great idea. And I literally did this. I literally went, thank you. Because it's not my idea. What book did I go to and say, well, I studied this when I was at, in music school. I studied this is what we should do. Yeah. No. The ideas come in just like grabbing Snickers bars. Well, what does that making records have to do with Snickers bars and medicine or hypnotherapy or anything else? It's learning to rely on this. And it's the same thing that I do in hypnotherapy. I've got to go here. You can't think, you know what? You can't even think fast enough intellectually to do what I'm doing right now. You can't. And when you're stuck in a situation, either giving a massage or doing hypnotherapy, there's got to be a part of you that you can rely on that doesn't require you to think about which page you saw it on, because then you're really going to be screwed. There's a part of you that you got to tap into Do you think a basketball player thinks about, okay, that's 16 feet off the ground, it's 17 feet, or it's 10 feet off the ground, 16 feet away, there's slight wind coming from that open window up there at the top, so I better take this 7.2-pound rubber object, I better elevate with about 17 ergs of energy first. You don't think that stuff. You rely upon a part of your mind that has been opened up to help you excel. That's the connection between making records and doing hypnotherapy. Learning to rely upon that. So, we've got these two parts of the mind. So let's start thinking about them a little bit and about what they do. The subconscious part and the conscious part. Because I want you guys to think about and relate to how you can relate to them, how you can access them and stuff. Okay, first of all, we know that this is very data-driven, and it's very form-based, and it's analytical, otherwise abbreviated like that. Come on, I'm dying here. It's data-driven, it's form-based, it's analytical. Let's see, what else is a conscious mind? Huh? I wouldn't use that, actually, because, I know what it is. It's hard work. It's hard work. It's hard it's hard thinking, isn't it? Let's see. What else? I've heard it said, I can't remember what's the number. How does that? I've heard it said, that's what it is. I've heard it said that this part of the mind, it's 50K, 50K. I've heard it said that we experience about 50,000 thoughts a day. Now, can you imagine how many of those are worthless? How many of them have to do with things that never will happen, that we're worried about that never will happen, or things that have happened that we can never change and that we think that we're applying to the future because, if it happened in the past, it's going to have it wrong. Okay? They're so temporally based. 50,000 thoughts a day. And just speaking for myself, this isn't data that I saw in a snapshot in USA Today. Just thinking for myself, 49,995 of my thoughts every day I could pretty much just toss out the window because they just take me right down the fear superhighway and thinking about the past or the future. So this is sort of what our conscious mind is like. We've already established, I hope, how powerful our subconscious is. If it's not data-based, if it's not empirically, intellectually based, what is the subconscious mind based on? Let me ask you this. Let's use a metaphor. Huh? Whispering? The subconscious mind is like a hard drive on a computer. It just keeps bringing in the data and it records it. So experience does have impact. The coin of the realm of the conscious mind appears to be data, information, which, like we said, changes. 1 week eggs are bad for you, the next week eggs are good for you, blah, 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 blah. It's just all data. It's all coin of the realm, whatever you want to make real. The coin of the realm of the subconscious mind is feeling. A friend of mine, a shaman down in Taos, sent me an email yesterday. You can't heal it if you can't feel it. He's talking about something, making change, therapeutic change. The subconscious mind operates on feeling. It's like if we wanted to make an anatomical connection between these two different parts of the mind, this is like the brain, and this is the heart. Feeling is the secret here. Feeling is the key. Just thinking an intellectual thought. Now, I said that thought has impact and that all your thoughts have impact. Every single thought that you have has some kind of impact. Yes, even an intellectual thought has impact. But the real powerful thoughts that you have are the ones that have been established through experience in your subconscious. Just to follow that experience thread, if we've got a thought or a belief in our subconscious that has been established that's no longer serving us, that would be a belief or a thought we would want to change. Okay? Every single thought you have has input. There's a great book, a book called You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought. Now, you don't even have to buy that book now. That's the whole thing right there. You can't afford the luxury of a negative thought. A bunch of negative thoughts in the conscious mind end up being a negative belief in the subconscious mind. This is where we get in trouble. Belief, feeling, is really what drives us, what really makes us do or contributes to how we perform. A baseball player going up to bat, he can think, oh, I'm going to hit this 90-mile-an-hour fastball, but if he doesn't feel it, it ain't going to happen. You can think you're going to be confident, and that certainly would help. But if you walk into the office of the vice president to try and sell him some software and you don't feel like you're confident, you're not going to make it. Why do football coaches spend every Saturday afternoon trying to convince their teams to feel like they can win? They don't really care if they intellectually think that they can win. If you feel you can win, if you feel something, it becomes real. And feeling happens in the subconscious. It doesn't happen in the intellect. You can't intellect yourself into feeling. Everybody got that? So that's what we want to be aware of. That's what we want to remember, that the coin of the realm of the subconscious mind is feeling. Let me draw out something. No matter what I do, it just ends up being ugly. There. Let me draw out this chain, because we seem to be concerned about, in our lives, we seem to be concerned about changing things in the world of form. We sort of look at the world of form and say that we want them to be different. So it's helpful to remember this flow of cause and effect. I'm going to draw it out for you. Thought becomes a belief. Now, it doesn't necessarily take repeated experience over and over and over and over. A belief actually then becomes a feeling, translated into feeling, and feeling then translates into form. Anybody have a problem with that? Anybody find that hard to understand or hard to believe even? Because I got an answer for you. You can guarantee that. I can absolutely convince anybody that this is how it works. I convinced the lieutenant governor of the state of Alabama over cocktails one night that this is how it works. And in fact, he brought it up. He said, well, I've been writing speeches for the governor, and, that's my main job, really, is I sort of write speeches for him. I wish I could do that accent. It was my first trip in Alabama. It was great. It was a hoot. I didn't think I would find anybody that I could understand. But this guy, man, he made all the sense in the world. And he said, the important thing is I have to sit down with the governor after I write the speech, and I have to go over it so he understands what I'm talking about. I mean, because it's what he wants to say anyway, but he has to understand what the deal is, because I've seen him get up there and read the speech really well and put the emphasis where it should be and blah, blah, blah. But if he doesn't understand, it just doesn't come across. And I listened to this guy and said, man, this guy's talking about thought. You got to get it here for it to happen there. And so immediately, we had this great discussion, and I said, yeah, you got it. I can't even remember the guy's name. I said, yeah, you got it. This is really the flow that goes. He says, yeah. So here I'm talking metaphysics with the lieutenant governor of Alabama. I had no idea. Now, you want a barometer to know whether you need to change your thought or not? All you got to do is ask yourself how you feel. How do you feel? You feel joyful? You don't even notice that. You're just joyful. But the minute you notice that you don't feel joyful, there's a little knock on the door that you might want to change your thought. Okay? Now notice I didn't say you might want to change your job, change your boyfriend, change your car, change your aftershave, all these other things that we try to change to make us feel better. You see, feeling, let's examine cause and effect. Feeling comes from where? Within. It doesn't come from outside. We think it does. We buy into the illusion that feeling, oh, she made me feel so bad. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. Anybody spell that? Nuh-uh. No, she didn't make me feel so bad. What I thought made me feel so bad. Form doesn't make you feel. What you think about form makes you feel. Example number 17a, if you're counting and taking notes. Form. 17a, phone call. Phone call. Hello. Oh, hi, honey. Oh, you don't want to see me anymore? You mean it's over between us? Oh, my God, my heart is broken. Okay, that's the event. That's the event. Phone call, it's all over between us. Oh, my heart is broken. I'm sad. I feel terrible. Anybody ever gotten a phone call like that? I hate to bring up old past stuff, but anybody ever gotten a phone call like that? And you got the phone call and said, hey, it's not working out between us, and you feel like crap. The feeling didn't come from the phone call. You know how I know? Because I got a phone call like that once, and I felt like crap. A couple years later, I got the same exact phone call from somebody else, but the same exact phone call, the same words, everything. Oh, honey, I'm sorry you feel that way. Whew, boy, I'm glad I didn't have to call her. It's the same event, but I felt totally different each way. Now, if you could say, well, it was a different time, it was a different person. Oh, yeah, we can go down that road. But I've actually gotten the same phone call from Lisa and felt differently about it 2 years. So you know what I'm saying? It ain't the event that makes you feel. It's the thought that creates the feeling in you. Okay? This is an important flow of cause and effect. When you are doing a massage, sometime, someday, you're going to feel insecure. You're going to feel like, ooh, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Where'd that feeling come from? Because you made a mistake or something? No, it came from you. Examine that. Realize that whatever you want to do, you want to change that thought. You want to change that thought immediately. You want to examine that thought. Do I need to feel more confident about my work here? Something? I've had that thought so many times doing hypnotherapy that I don't even have to ask myself if I want to feel more confident about my work. You want to feel more confident all the time about everything. But that's where this idea can come in handy. Examining your own feeling in the moment so that you can be the best therapist that you can be. It starts with your consciousness, just like it starts with the consciousness of a baseball player, football player, or a registered nurse who's carrying Snickers bars around loaded in her purse, okay? Or a loaded registered nurse carrying, or you know what I mean? That's where it starts. It starts in your consciousness. All of a sudden, hypnotherapy starts to make sense because you're doing it on yourself. What is hypnosis? Let's get right to the net. Now, I've got to wrap this up. We've got 10 more minutes, and we'll wrap this up and tell you what hypnosis and hypnotherapy is. Hypnosis is a frame of mind. It's not being asleep. It's not being under. It's not being unconscious. Everybody in this room's been hypnotized before. All hypnosis is getting this guy out of the mix a little bit. Get the conscious mind to shut up just a little bit. That's all hypnosis is. Get this guy to shut up. Everybody's been hypnotized here. I'll tell you when. When you're falling asleep at night, your head hit the pillow. Anybody have trouble sleeping at night? Oh, God, I forgot to mail the car insurance. Did I roll up the windows? No, it's not supposed to rain. Oh, I got to pick up the dry clean. I bet it's probably 30 days. But when this guy's barking like a dog in the backyard, you're not going to go to sleep. When the conscious mind is going blah, 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 blah. But when you shut the conscious mind up, and sometimes it's not the most usual thing that a person does. You can't sort of like strong arm it into shutting up. But when it finally shuts up, then you enter this little area of consciousness, if you will, where you're not asleep. But boy, it feels good, doesn't it? It's relaxing. You can knock the remote off the bed. Who cares? But if your fire alarm went off, you'd get up, you'd be the first one out of the house. So you're not asleep, you're not dead, you're not anesthetized, you don't have amnesia, but you're in this little area of deep relaxation where this guy shut up a little bit. So when we hypnotize somebody, the first thing we do is distract this thing. Get it to shut up. Shut up, conscious mind. And there's a dozen jillion billion ways to do that. A dozen jillion. We've seen people do it with coins. I don't use any of that. So I don't use anything. You can hypnotize somebody like that. You can hypnotize somebody by telling them they're hypnotized. And then you help deepen that hypnosis. And the more you deepen it, the more this barking dog shuts up. And the more the subconscious mind goes, oh, thank God, it was so loud in here. Now we've got access to the subconscious and we can begin to use it. If there's a belief in the subconscious mind that is running our life, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm just like my mom. She had a nervous stomach. Stuff happens like that. Thoughts and beliefs get embedded in the subconscious mind, and you can't intellectualize them out. I knew a kid who came to see me for an irritable bowel syndrome. And he literally said, I know why I have a nervous stomach. And he'd had it for 16 years. They were about ready to cut a foot of his intestine out. And he said, stop! 16 years you guys have had a chance to fix this. And, drug this, drug that, this, that, the other, blah, 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 change your diet here, da-da-da-da-da. And 16 years, nothing happened. And they finally said, well, if we cut out this section of your intestine, that'll do it. And he said, no, you've had your chance. And so he said, is there anything you can do? I said, I can hypnotize you. You never, of course, in hypnotherapy, and I don't think you can get a doctor to say, oh yeah, I can cure that. No way. No way at all. That's not the point. But I know that your mind can affect your body. I do know that, don't I? I know that. And that's what I told him. I said, Mike, your mind can affect your body. Came in and he said, well, I know why I have it. Because from the age of 8, people told me, he got his mom's nervous stomach. First time he was sick. First time he got sick at school, came home and his aunt or somebody said, oh, look, you got your mom's nervous stomach. And he knew this intellectually. Did it make any difference? Could he go out on dates? No. He couldn't even go out on a date. He'd sit in a movie theater, and 5 minutes after getting there, he'd have to go to the bathroom. And then 20 minutes after he came back, he'd look around for his date. And she's like, what's with this? Literally, this is what is going on in the guy's life. He knew intellectually that he had identified, didn't matter. We had to get to the subconscious mind and change that belief subconsciously. How do you relate to the subconscious mind, you're asking? How do you do something like that, you're asking? First, you get this guy out of the picture. It does you no good whatsoever. Shut up. Here's a bone. That's what hypnosis is. Toss the dog a bone. Go in the corner. Don't come out until I call you. That's what you do. You start by shutting that up. You know what? Something therapeutic is going to happen with that. You ever heard the term get out of your own way? Get your conscious mind out of the mix, and already something's going to happen. I can't tell you the number of people that I've hypnotized who have had some kind of problem or issue, and sometimes I didn't even know they had it, and they come back the next week and they go, blah, 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 and we never even worked on it. I'll hypnotize somebody for more confidence, and they come back the next week and they say, yeah, I took that, my quarterfinals last week, and I really felt better. In fact, I actually did score the best grade I've scored in this class, and so it works. Hypnosis works. You work. I don't work. Hypnosis doesn't work. You work. Your mind works. Your mind makes change. That's what I'm all about, telling you here. The mind makes change. Thought creates, thought changes. Your mind affects your body. It affects your world. It affects people outside of you. So, changing the subconscious mind, changing that belief is what's crucial. So immediately when you hypnotize somebody, there is a therapeutic change. Because The best therapist is their own subconscious. So this person who had more confidence came back and had more confidence. She said, yeah, and you know what? I had migraine headaches like twice a week. Oh, you never mentioned that. Yeah, I know. I didn't mention that. In fact, I'm sorry. I forgot. I should have written it down on the intake form. But I haven't had a headache since we started doing hypnosis. Go figure. Stuff like that happens. I can't explain it. It's the therapeutic nature of the subconscious mind that wants to take you to your greatest good. That's the best therapist there is. So, our first step, get this guy to shut up. Okay? When this guy shuts up, now we can start to work with the subconscious mind. How do you work with the subconscious mind? What's the coin of the realm of the subconscious mind? And louder into the microphone.
Feelings.
Yes, feeling. What can make somebody feel? What can help somebody feel? Anybody ever go to a movie here and feel scared? Yes! What can make or help someone acquire a feeling? What is a movie but an image? You have to use your imagination to let a movie make you feel scared or happy or warm and fuzzy. Anybody see Seabiscuit? Oh, it's such a warm and fuzzy. Yeah. Or sad. And filmmakers know this. They use everything in their power, in their playbook. But they don't even do it consciously. Of course not. They just know what works. They go to Randy Newman and they say, Randy, we need a real schmaltzy kind of thing. This is an empowering film. This is about people grabbing their own bootstraps and climbing up through the muck and the guck and succeeding and just us against the world. That's what it's like. And so Randy Newman writes big, lush string lines and big, empowering symphonic overtures. Anybody see The Natural with Robert Redford when he hits a home run and everything's in slow motion? There. See, it's an image. It's not the guy running around the base like, Barry Bonds. No, it's like the image in your mind to pull and tug at your heartstrings. That's what I do. Somebody's got their eyes closed, I'll build an image in their mind. And it works far better than saying, it doesn't make any sense that you're acting like you're believing that you're your mom and that you have your mom's nervous stomach. That doesn't make any sense. That's not logical. No, that's not what I do. I'll leave that to these people. Okay? The people who want to do analysis. Okay? Nah, the intellect isn't where I want to work. I want to work with the images that will help this person feel relaxed and comfortable and safe. What kind of images can work? Well, there's no textbook, I'm sorry. There's no textbook out there that says, this image works for that. That's where you listen to, you listen to this and you start giving images. And you listen to what the person talks about and start understanding that, they want to quit smoking because they hate the smell of it. Oh, there's a million things a person can say about not smoking. And I don't take not smoking clients, by the way. Except anybody who's personally referred, just so you know. But anybody on the phone, look it up. You use whatever, there's a million ways or a million reasons to say, I want to quit smoking because. Well, because my grandpa died of emphysema, okay, or it makes my lungs hurt. Or smell. Well, listen, you're already learning about what makes this person tick. What's working for them. So you start working on images, and I don't think about that. You actually have to tune into this too. One time I was working with a guy who's one of the biggest real estate guys here in Omaha. I think he probably owns more property than any single individual person here in Omaha. And maybe that's not necessarily so, I don't know. But that's all I knew about him. He's a real estate magnate. And he had a problem with his body. And what was required to fix his body was to bring it sort of like irritable bowel syndrome or something like that, where you'd want it to pop back into balance. And rather than use images that specifically tell somebody specifically blah, 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 often I'll just, as far as health is concerned, I'll encourage their subconscious to take them into healthy balance. You know, because I don't want to tell people's bodies what they should do or not do necessarily, but encourage their body and their own intuitive mind to know what to do. So I used an image with this guy, and I said, just imagine, and I had him imagine that he was walking up to the steps of a courthouse. And at the steps of the courthouse, he met a statue that was alive, and the statue was the statue of justice. And you could see the scales all of a sudden beginning to move. Oops, they go over a little bit, and one was brown and one was white, until the brown one and the white one both came to perfect balance. And so we just used that image. I don't know where it came from. I don't know where that idea came from. I didn't see it in the book or anything, and we finished and everything. So that was so easy to do. Did I tell you that I was a lawyer? And I said, no, I thought you were a real estate guy. So, well, I'm a real estate guy, but I was a lawyer. And that was one of the strongest images that I had when I was going to law school. I used to draw little scales on my notebooks and stuff because it was so cool. You know, I just kept thinking about the scales of justice. He said, I can't believe you didn't know I was a lawyer. I mean, that was just so perfect. How did you come up with that image? Is that an image that you did? No, I didn't know where the hell it came from. It came from the same damn place as, hey, Stephen, let's put a third harmony part on that guitar solo. Came from the same place. Do you understand what I'm saying? The creative part of your higher mind. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm just so grateful that I didn't say to this guy while he was hypnotized, let's put a harmony part on the guitar solo. That's when you really get your subconscious wires crossed. You understand what I'm saying? Get to that part of the mind. That's what hypnotherapy works with. And it works with the coin of the realm of the subconscious mind, which is feeling, it's image, it's positive. Subconscious mind, what do you mean? It's positive. Subconscious mind accepts positive suggestions. Here's my last demonstration of the day. I'm going to be a sword swallower. No, I'm just kidding. My last demonstration of the day is close your eyes. Now, I'm going to show you one of the ways that you work with the subconscious mind, and you'll never forget this. The subconscious mind accepts positive suggestions. Negative suggestions just are, it doesn't work. A negative suggestion doesn't work with the subconscious mind. I'll give you an example. Whatever you guys do right now, whatever you do, do not think about elephants. Don't think about gray elephants lumbering across the African desert, kicking up dust clouds. Don't think of like pink elephants floating off into space. And don't think of elephants carrying logs through the jungle of India, swinging those logs in their tails as they wag. Okay, now open your eyes. How successful were you in following my suggestion not to think? If you're open to the suggestion, though, and you start listening to the suggestion, and it's a negative suggestion, your mind isn't going to hear what the positive result is. Don't think of smoking cigarettes. You're not going to smoke a cigarette after dinner. Like hell I'm not now. In fact, that's the only reason I eat. So I just wanted to give you that little tidbit of one of the ways that we talk to the subconscious mind. And that's part of what you learn. And when you learn to be a hypnotherapist, you learn how to therapeutically address the subconscious mind. Hypnotizing somebody's easy. The guy at the comedy store does it all the time. Hypnotizing somebody is very easy. Therapeutically applying the creative use of mind is something that you learn. You learn and you adapt and you open yourself up to it and it happens. And that's what hypnotherapy does.